Bonjour tout le monde. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this press conference with Canada's NDP Leader Jagmeet Singh, joined by Dr. Samantha Green, candidate for Toronto Centre, and NDP critic for Women and Gender Equality. After opening remarks from Dr. Green, Jagmeet, and Leah, we will take questions in person, and then we will move to questions via Zoom. Please use the raise hand function to ask your question and follow up. Bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue à cette conférence de presse avec le chef du NPD Jagmeet Singh, accompagné de Dr. Samantha Green, qui est la candidate pour Toronto Centre, ainsi que la porte-parole du NPD en matière de femmes et égalité des genres. Nous allons écouter quelques mots d'ouverture de Dr. Green, Jagmeet et Leah, et ensuite nous allons prendre les questions en personne. Juste avant de prendre des questions via Zoom, veuillez utiliser la fonction lever la main, vous poser votre question et question de suivi. Dr. Green, the mic is yours. Sorry to interrupt. I'm just going to ask to please unmute.
Okay.
All right, we hear you now. Please go ahead.
Okay. My name is Samantha Green. I'm a family physician in Regent Park in downtown Toronto and the NDP candidate for Toronto Centre. I would like to acknowledge that we are here today on the traditional territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Nishnawbek, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and this land continues to be the home of many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. I am running as Toronto Centre's NDP candidate because I see how decisions made in Ottawa affect the health of my neighbours. As a doctor, I see the ways that the health of my patients is harmed by a lack of affordable housing, the high price of groceries, difficulties in accessing medications, and difficulties accessing mental health supports. The health of my patients and my neighbours is also determined by access to safe abortion care. A patient of mine recently became pregnant. She already has 3 young children at home and works 2 jobs trying to get by. She was so worried about potentially having another child, but thankfully, she was able to access the healthcare she needed and received a timely abortion. Women and gender diverse people need allies in Ottawa more than ever. That's Jagmeet and the NDP. There's one leader in Canada who is delivering free birth control. There's one leader in Canada who is willing to make women's health a priority. And there's only one leader in Canada who can take on Pierre Poilievre and his cutting agenda. It is my great pleasure to introduce the leader of Canada's NDP, Jagmeet Singh.
Thanks so much, Dr. Singh. Thank you. And we are so honored and lucky to have such an incredible candidate here in Toronto Centre with Dr. Green. As you heard, her passion for healthcare, for the community that she serves and the people that she wants to represent. So thank you so much, Dr. Green. New Democrats believe fundamentally, it is your life, it is your body, it is your choice. And we know with growing worries about what's going on in the States, attacks on the right to choose are becoming more and more prevalent. We see with the Conservatives a clear agenda of attacking women's rights, attacking people's right to choose. They are attacking these rights and they're making no qualms about it. In fact, a recent filmmaker reported and shared the reality of the growing movement of anti-choice in Canada, particularly in the Conservative Party. Leah Gazan, in her film, interviewed Alan Reyes, who's formerly a Conservative MP, and he said the anti-choice folks are calling the shots in the Conservative Party. Under Pierre Poilievre's leadership, Conservative MPs have brought in motions and bills attacking the right to choose. They've also put in petitions attacking the right to choose. In fact, one of the MPs in his party went to a church in Florida that is anti-choice and proudly spoke on anti-choice issues. So we know there's a real threat. And with the Liberals, we've seen that they have not taken the question of access seriously. In our country, while we have a right, access to that right has been severely reduced over the past number of years. We've seen clinics shut down in provinces like New Brunswick, lack of access in provinces like Alberta, and more threats across the board. In fact, 1 in 5 women have to travel, and gender diverse folks have to travel over 100 kilometers to get to the nearest clinic. That is not access. So we need to really take access seriously. Given all these attacks on the right to choose. Given the lack of access for women and gender diverse folks, we are putting forward a motion. Leah Gazan is our critic on women and gender equality, and I'm really proud that she's standing with me today to present our vision, to say that we need emergency, urgent action to immediately expand access to the right to choose. And that means enforcing the Canada Health Act, using the power we have at the federal level to enforce this idea, this principle that this accessing reproductive justice, accessing reproductive services is healthcare. It should be a part of our public healthcare system and should be treated with that same respect. And that's why our motion is an urgent motion. It's a fundamental question about the type of country we want to build, one where we respect not just the right to choose, but access to that fundamental right. And so that's why we're bringing this motion forward. I'll do that again in French, and then it'll be my great honor to introduce our critic, Leah Gazan, to share some thoughts on this very important motion. Donc, c'est clair, c'est votre vie, c'est votre corps, c'est votre choix. Nous croyons profondément comme parti néo-démocrate, c'est un droit fondamental qu'on doit défendre, le droit à l'avortement. Malheureusement, on a vu avec ce qui se passe aux États-Unis, il y a des attaques contre ce choix, ce droit au Canada aussi. Une cinéaste, Léa Gazan, a partagé dans un documentaire La peur au ventre le fait qu'il y a un grand momentum des groupes anti-choix dans le Parti conservateur. Elle a parlé avec un député, ancien député conservateur, Alan Reyes, et il a dit clairement qu'il y a une hausse, il y a un grand momentum des gens qui sont anti-choix, qui sont effectivement les gens anti-choix qui tirent les ficelles au Parti conservateur. Donc, et on a vu que les libéraux et Justin Trudeau n'ont pas prendre au sérieux la question de accès au cette droit. Donc ça, c'est pourquoi on va présenter notre motion pour notre journée d'opposition. Une motion peut dire qu'on a besoin des actions urgentes et immédiates pour améliorer l'accès au ce droit. Pour les gens, genres divers, pour les femmes, c'est fondamental qu'on défende ce droit. Avec ça, je suis tellement fier de présenter notre porte-parole en matière des femmes et d'équité des genres, Leah Gazan. With that, I'm really honored to be able to present our critic on women and gender diversity, Leah Gazan.
Thank you so much, Leader. And I'm very honored to be joined by healthcare providers, our leader, Jagmeet Singh, today to talk about how our public healthcare system is under attack. Accessing services are becoming more and more difficult, whether you need heart surgery, a knee replacement, or an abortion. Access to healthcare is becoming increasingly more difficult. And this includes matters related to reproductive justice and gender-affirming care across the country, with Conservative provincial governments putting in place measures to further privatize our public health system, and the Liberal government failing to enforce the Canada Health Act to ensure access to the public healthcare system without financial or other barriers. And this is going to cost lives. Do we want to go back to a time where individuals are forced to have back alley abortions, where the so-called choice of individuals about their bodies is now up for debate? And we know it is up for debate. In fact, we know Conservative members, our anti-choice Conservative members, social conservatives, according to a former MP, have great influence on a leader, the current leader, Pierre Poilievre, who has voted 5 times, in fact, in favor of anti-abortion legislation as recent as 2023 with Bill C-311, Kathy Wagenthal's bill, something in the name of violence that was not supported by any gender-based violence organizations and was lifted up by anti-choice organizations in the country. Individuals have a right to make choices about their bodies. And that includes making a choice and being able to have access to safe, trauma-informed abortion care wherever they are when they need it. And this is becoming a distant reality. So we are calling through our motion on the Liberal government to enforce the Canada Health Act to ensure access to all health care, including reproductive justice and access to safe trauma-informed abortion care. Thank you.
So much. We are ready for any questions you might have.
You go straight to the same line today.
Perfect. We will take now questions over Zoom. So reminder to please use the raise hand function to ask your question and follow up. We'll start with Marina with the CBC. Please go ahead.
Hi there, Mr. Singh. Thanks for taking our questions today. First of all, I wanted to ask you about the Conservatives' plan on housing. Pierre Poilievre announced today that a Conservative government would remove the GST on the purchase of new homes under $1 million. What do you think of that plan?
Well, there's a number of concerns that were raised with his announcement. First of all, he said he would cancel the Housing Accelerator Fund. This is a fund that's actually building homes in communities that are affordable, building affordable places for people to rent or to own, and he would cancel that plan. So that's right off the bat a problem. The additional problems that he has not addressed is what about investors who want to buy multiple properties? They would then also get the 50% waived off of the GST or the 5% depending on the jurisdiction. That's not actually a plan that's going to help a first-time home buyer. So we are very open to looking at ways to help young people buy their first home. We want to focus on building affordable starter homes, making sure they're truly deeply affordable so people can have that choice. What Pierre Poilievre is doing, let's be very clear, he has no interest in building homes that are affordable. What he wants to do is what Conservatives always do. That is, find a way to help out their rich buddies, their rich corporate buddies to get even richer. When he was housing minister, he built a grand total of 6 affordable homes. This is not someone that is interested in building homes for young people that they can actually buy or afford. This is someone who wants to help out his rich corporate buddies, rich real estate investors make more money. You Democrats are committed to making sure people can actually find a place to call home.
Just to follow up, do you think that GST should be removed from home buying, whether it's new homes, homes that are already built, apartments? Do you think that GST should be charged on any sort of housing?
I think we can look at it in a targeted way. So if the goal is to help a first-time home buyer or a young person buy their first home, and it's directed towards someone who's only buying one place, that's something we can absolutely look at. If it's an open season that says that anyone buying a home under $1 million is going to get GST waived, then that's just going to incentivize a rich developer or a rich investor to buy up more homes. That's certainly not the goal. And so we're very focused about our goal. Our goal is we want to make sure people can find a place to call home. We want to make sure there's affordable homes for people. We know that means a wider variety of housing. Many people specifically need homes they can rent. They need a home they can buy. They need subsidized housing. They need assisted and supportive housing. We need all of it. But we need it to be with the goal of helping everyday folks. For too long, what the Liberals and Conservatives have done is they've built a housing market that works great for a rich investor. If you're a rich investor, you can make lots of money in housing. It works great for big developers, but the housing market is not working for everyday folks. And that's the difference. While Liberals and Conservatives have been in power and have set up a housing market that's helped out their rich buddies, we want a housing market that's designed for people, for everyday folks. And that's the difference between us and them.
Nous allons maintenant à Valérie Gamache avec Radio-Canada. C'est à vous.
Bonjour, bonjour, Monsieur Singh. Je vais rebondir là-dessus. Les libéraux, eux, ont décidé d'exempter de la TPS les constructions, en fait, toute construction de nouveaux logements locatifs. Aujourd'hui, bon, les conservateurs disent, ben, ce sera sur les maisons neuves de moins d'1 million. Qu'est-ce que vous feriez, vous, comme premier ministre, avec la TPS concernant la crise du logement? Est-ce que vous l'enlevez à quelque part?
Pour moi, c'est la question de comment on utilise cet outil, c'est quoi la priorité. Pour les conservateurs et pour les libéraux, ils ont créé un marché immobilier qui fonctionne extrêmement bien pour les riches investisseurs, mais ça ne fonctionne pas pour monsieur, madame, tout le monde. Ça ne fonctionne pas pour les personnes, les jeunes personnes. Donc, ce que je veux faire avec tous nos outils, on peut exempter la TPS, c'est un outil important, mais on doit être clair que notre but, c'est de créer du logement abordable pour les gens, pour monsieur, madame, tout le monde, pas un autre outil qui va aider ou avantager ou prioriser ou favoriser les ultra riches. Ça, c'est pourquoi je dis qu'il n'y a pas des détails spécifiques dans le plan proposé par Pierre Poilievre qui indique que c'est un plan qui va aider particulièrement les gens qui en ont le plus besoin, les jeunes personnes, les personnes qui ne peuvent pas se permettre d'acheter une maison. Donc, ça, c'est pourquoi je critique son plan et le fait que ce qu'il va faire, elle a dit qu'il va couper un plan qui existe maintenant, un fonds pour l'accélération de construction de logements, un fonds qui actuellement fonctionne à ce moment pour construire du logement abordable. Donc, notre plan, c'est on doit changer l'approche. Notre marché immobilier doit fonctionner pour les gens, pour les travailleurs, pour les jeunes personnes, et on doit avoir des approches, des stratégies spécifiques pour les aider.
Et puis, j'ai envie de vous parler du Bloc québécois dont l'ultimatum arrive à sa fin demain. De leur côté, ils disent qu'ils sont prêts à entamer des discussions avec les partis d'opposition pour travailler sur une motion de confiance qui pourrait faire tomber le gouvernement. Vous, est-ce que vous avez envie de travailler sur ce genre de motion-là à ce moment-ci?
On va regarder ce que les autres partis partagent avec nous, présentent. Mais comme j'ai dit, on va évaluer chaque motion, chaque vote. Et notre question, c'est si ça va aider monsieur, madame, tout le monde. Si c'est quelque chose qui va aider les gens, on va évaluer. Mais à ce moment, notre priorité, c'est clair, on veut avancer notre motion sur la journée d'opposition pour défendre le choix, le droit d'avoir un avortement. Ça, c'est un élément prioritaire pour nous. Défendre notre système de santé public et entièrement gratuit. Ça, c'est notre priorité. La science médicaments, on veut que les provinces, des gouvernements fédéraux signent des ententes avec les provinces pour livrer les médicaments, les contraceptifs gratuits et les médicaments pour les diabètes gratuits. Donc, ce sont les priorités. Comment notre priorité, c'est de réduire les factures pour les épiceries, construire du logement abordable, ce sont nos priorités. Yeah, I'm just going to do that one in English. We'll look at any bill or any motion that's presented to us. So if the Bloc wants to present something, we'll look at it. But our priorities are very clear. Our priorities are like the bill that we're talking about today, the motion we're talking about today, defending the right to choose, defending the right to have an abortion and access to that right. That's a priority for us. Defending our healthcare system, keeping it public, keeping it entirely there for the people. That's a priority for us. Reducing the cost of groceries and the bills that people pay and building homes that people can actually afford. These are our priorities. So when we look at any bill or any motion, we evaluate it through that lens. Will it help achieve these goals?
Thank you very much. Nous allons maintenant à Émilie Bergeron avec la presse canadienne.
Oui, bonjour, Monsieur Singh. Je vais dans la même lignée que ma collègue Valérie Gamache. Est-ce que vous êtes prêt à... Avez-vous d'abord déjà eu des discussions avec le Bloc en vue de la fin de leur ultimatum et est-ce que vous êtes prêt à discuter avec eux pour faire tomber le gouvernement à partir de demain?
Non, on n'a pas eu des discussions avec les blocs. Notre leader en chambre discute avec tous les autres partis, les leaders en chambre, donc ça c'est normal, mais non, on n'a pas eu des discussions avec le bloc. Et honnêtement, notre but, ce n'est pas le même que le bloc. Le bloc veut bloquer les choses. Ils étaient contre notre programme de soins dentaires, ils étaient contre la science médicaments, donc ils ne veulent pas que le Parlement avance avec ces enjeux. Pour nous, ça, c'est notre priorité. Comment on peut aider les gens? Comment on peut aider les gens avec les soins dentaires? Comment on peut aider les gens avec la science médicaments? On veut que ça fonctionne. On veut que les gens aient accès aux médicaments gratuits pour les diabètes, les contraceptifs gratuits. Donc, ça, c'est notre priorité. Mais comme j'ai dit, d'ailleurs, je suis prêt à évaluer chaque motion présentée par des autres partis et puis on va décider comment on va voter.
Et puisqu'on sait maintenant qu'il y aura une autre élection provinciale, donc en Nouvelle-Écosse, est-ce que ce serait le temps d'avoir, disons, à peu près en même temps, à l'automne, une élection fédérale? Est-ce que ce serait le bon timing?
Je sais que la Nouvelle-Écosse a déclenché une élection là. Je souhaite Claudia Gender, notre chef à Nouvelle-Écosse, une bonne chance et je vais essayer de les aider comme je peux. Une question de l'élection, une élection s'en vient au niveau fédéral, c'est clair. C'est une question de quand. Mais quand cette élection arrive, les gens vont avoir un choix. Un choix entre les libéraux et les libéraux qui prennent pour acquis les votes des gens. Je pense que les gens sont tannés des libéraux et ils ne veulent pas les donner une autre chance. Donc, le choix va être un choix entre vraiment les conservateurs de Pierre Poilievre qui veut couper les services dont vous avez besoin ou les néo-démocrates qui va vous aider, qui veut améliorer accès aux programmes comme les soins dentaires et l'assurance médicaments et les soins de santé. Ou les conservateurs qui veulent couper les pensions, couper les soins de santé, couper les soins dentaires. Ça, c'est le choix. Coupure conservatrice de Pierre Poilievre ou l'espoir et l'aide de néo-démocrates.
We will now go to Mark Ramsey with the Star. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking our question. Can you be specific about what it is exactly that you're actually calling on the federal government to do with this motion? Do you think Ottawa should be tying federal health transfers to abortion access?
I think that the federal government should be enforcing the Canada Health Act. Canada Health Act makes it clear that public healthcare should be available across the country and that we have transfers in place based on the principles that are outlined by the Canada Health Act, that this care should be universal, should be publicly delivered, should be transferable. So we want to make sure that that is enforced. The Liberals did not enforce the Canada Health Act when it came to New Brunswick, where the last abortion clinic was shut down. We see serious threats to our healthcare system in Alberta, where Premier Smith wants to privatize the healthcare system and give it to an organization that will not provide abortion care or will not provide emergency contraceptive care. These are serious problems. And so we also know that Conservatives have made it very clear that they want to attack a woman's right to choose. They want to attack gender diverse people. They want to attack this important care. And so we want to stand up and say, no, that's not going to happen on our watch. We want to defend the right to choose. And more importantly, we want to defend, in addition, access to that right. So what we're calling on specifically for the federal government to do is take this as a serious issue, recognize that access has gone down, and immediately enforce the Canada Health Act. So that does involve a lot of things. That could involve withdrawing resources from a province that does not actually meet the requirements of the Canada Health Act. That could mean imposing severe fines for any transgressions or any violations of the Canada Health Act. We're calling on the federal government to do its job, which is to protect public health care, and to include in that public health care, fundamentally, abortion services should be a fundamental included part of our public healthcare system, and there should be no barriers to accessing it.
Thank you for that. And you said earlier that this is an emergency now. Other parties like the Bloc have put forward their priorities and they're willing to take down the government based off of the government's inaction. Why is this motion not a no confidence motion? Why don't you force the government to do this because it's an emergency, as you say, or be forced to go to an election?
Well, if you look at the past couple of years, we've been able to force the government to do things they didn't want to do. And we've been successful in doing so. The dental care program was something the Liberals voted against. They were opposed to it. They never wanted to do it. We forced them to bring it in. And now seniors are getting dental care for the first time in their lives, many of them. Kids are able to go to the dentist and look after their teeth, which is preventing illnesses, keeping them healthier, ensuring that they're going to have better outcomes in their lives. So we've gotten things done this way. So we're putting it on the table. We believe the Liberals have failed to address the question of access. And we know the Conservatives are threatening the access to this right and are threatening the fundamental right itself. So we're putting forward our vision. We need to make sure that this is treated as serious and we have immediate action to expand access. We're going to put forward an opposition day motion and we'll see how the parties vote on it. And we're going to use the pressure that we have with our allies, with folks that are listening. If you believe it's important to defend not just the right, but access to this right, then join us. If you're looking at the Liberal Party and you're seeing them focus on themselves and not on your issues, join us. We're here for you. We're ready to fight for you. And we care about what people are going through. That's why we're presenting real motions that respond to the needs of people, responding to the fears of Conservatives who want to cut access to abortions and attack the right. We're putting forward a motion to say no. We're going to defend the right and defend access to the right.
Nous avons une dernière question avec Mylène Crête de la Presse. C'est à vous.
Oui, bonjour, Monsieur Singh.
Bonjour.
Quand on vous a posé la question là, sur si vous alliez, appuyer peut-être une motion de censure là, après l'ultimatum du Bloc. Vous avez dit, bon, on va prendre chaque vote au cas par cas, on va voir si ça aide les gens. Donc, est-ce que ça aide les gens de faire tomber le gouvernement cet automne?
Et ça dépend sur la question, sur quelle motion. Ça, c'est pourquoi j'ai dit on va décider dans une cas par cas situation. Donc, on va regarder chaque vote, chaque motion et puis décider. Mais notre priorité, c'est de faire des choses. On veut que le gouvernement fasse le travail nécessaire pour négocier des contrats ou des ententes avec les provinces pour livrer les médicaments gratuits. Je veux que les gens ont un bénéfice dans leur vie. Les gens qui vivent, ils sont diabète, je veux qu'ils reçoivent des médicaments gratuits. Je veux garantir des contraceptifs gratuits à travers le pays. Donc, je veux réaliser le but de ce projet de loi, des médicaments gratuits. Et avec les soins dentaires, je veux accroître ce programme pour donner plus d'aide aux plus de gens. Donc, ça, c'est notre but. Notre but, c'est de construire du logement abordable, de réduire les factures pour l'épicerie. Donc, ce sont nos buts. Et on va essayer d'utiliser notre pouvoir dans ce gouvernement minoritaire pour forcer le gouvernement de livrer l'aide aux gens. Ça, c'est notre but. Et puis, on va évaluer chaque vote, chaque motion.
Quand vous répondez ça, moi, je comprends que vous ne voulez pas que le gouvernement tombe cet automne.
Ce n'est pas notre but, j'ai dit ça dans le passé aussi, ce n'est pas notre but de chercher l'élection. Nous n'avons pas peur d'une élection, mais on ne cherche pas une élection non plus. Ce qu'on veut faire, c'est de continuer notre travail pour aider les gens, de montrer comment on utilise notre pouvoir pour aider les gens. Et on va avoir une élection, c'est clair, une élection arrive bientôt. La date finale, c'est 2025. On doit avoir une élection. Et quand on a une élection, les gens vont décider entre la vision des conservateurs de Pierre Poilievre de couper les services dont vous avez besoin, couper votre pension, couper les soins de santé, ou notre vision, régler le système de santé, augmenter votre pension, aider les gens. Ça, c'est les deux visions et on va travailler fort pour partager notre vision. Sure, I'll do that in English. I've said in the past, we're not looking for an election. We're not afraid of an election. There will be an election, though. Either way, an election is coming. And when that election comes, there's going to be a choice for people to make. People have felt really let down by the Liberals. They felt like they haven't met the needs that they're going through right now. And so they feel let down. So the next election is going to be a choice. It's going to be a choice between the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre, who want to cut the things that you need. They've been very clear. They want to cut pensions. They want to cut your health care. They want to cut the things that you need. Or New Democrats who want to fix the problems in your life, want to fix healthcare. We want to strengthen pensions. We want to expand the dental care program that we fought for. That's a choice for the vision for the country. I believe that Canadians want to look out for one another, that we are better off, we are stronger when we take care of our neighbor. The Conservatives want you to ignore your neighbor, not look out for one another, and just focus on the individual. And they want to cut the programs that we need to take better care of each other. They want to cut healthcare and make it private. So you got to pay money out of pocket to see a doctor. I believe healthcare should be there for you. The best quality healthcare should be there for you without you spending money on your credit card. So it's going to be a competing vision for the country. And that's a choice that Canadians will make in the next election. The cuts of the Conservatives under Pierre Poilievre or hope and relief with New Democrats.
That was our last question. Cela a été notre dernière question. Alors, ceci conclut notre conférence de presse. This concludes the press conference. Thank you.
Merci. Thank you very much. Thank you all. That was awesome. That was so great to have you on. Thank you.